Hello everybody, my name is Richard Vigorelli and this is Vigorelli Institute. Now before we get started, I changed the background a little bit. That is the flag of Utah. Let me get out of the way for you so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, now Utah is a state. It's an alternate history. If you know the U.S. very well, which if you're under the age of 30, I doubt it, this is where I grew up. In our timeline, it's called Utah. Okay? Notice the difference. But we'll get into why that's important. This is available on my website, vimandvigorelli.com. Just go to shop, and you will be able to purchase one of these yourself. There are also other flags for sale. Now, let's get on to the feature of this. So I wanted to kind of showcase my work, the stuff that I've done. I've shown this guy before. This is my first novel. It's called The Hidden Race. It is about a young man by the name of Dorian Astrapios. If you know Greek, you know what he can do. Most of you don't. He lives in a place called Kidron City in the state of Utah in the United States. And he's got electrical powers. He doesn't know why. Well, he finds out. And he's also drawn into a serial murder case that's plaguing Kidron City. Okay? So he has to figure out why all of this is happening. Okay? And this, bit of a beefy boy. So, this is a true novel. It's 101,000 some odd words. I've gotten some good reviews on it. Go ahead and check it out. It's available on Amazon. Now, that's the foundation. Here, we have an alternate history book. It's called Fey Earth. I just gave the answer away. I know. Now, this flag is found in here as to also why it is called what it is. Okay? I've gone into the histories of all kinds of places. I've even created an alternate map of the world and the U.S. And I'm searching for that world map right now. Here we are. If you want a much more detailed picture, it is available on my website. Link will be in the description, vimandvigorelli.com. But, to whet your appetite, the United States controls down to the very northern coast of the Gulf of Cortez. Mexico is a vassal of the U.S. Puerto Rico is not a territory of the United States. It is actually part of a separate country called Caribe, which contains the island of Cuba and the island of Hispaniola. Very complicated history of that, and it's all detailed here in the book. Let's see here, what else? Russia is significantly smaller. Siberia and Kamchatka are free nations. Japan has remained an empire and is significantly larger. It actually controls Korea and northern China. China is only central China. Tibet is free. The Cantonese are a free people. Indonesia is only one island. All the other islands are essentially free. India is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separate countries because of some religious shenanigans that happened. As I said, Tibet is free. The Arabian Peninsula is all one country, and instead of being a kingdom, it is a tribal republic. Yeah, really interesting stuff. The Roman Empire was able to reassert itself, and the French remained an empire because somebody didn't get ousted from power. I wonder if you know who. It's all in the book. Feel free to read. Okay? Congo, spelled with a K, is the main country in Africa, with its only rival being Nigeria. They do not get along. The UN, which I will flip to, it's all the way here at the back. Come here. We'll get to all that in a minute. is significantly different. I don't know if you can see that very well. The flag is available for purchase. The UN, rather than just being, a place to air grievances, is actually a stabilizer of the world. They are more of a military organization than a diplomatic one. Okay? Lots of stuff going on there. I even wrote in all the bylaws that they have. Okay? Now, as I said, the United States is a completely different place. Let's see here. France. Southern Revolt. Come back here. There we go. Oh, and Canada, by the way, does not exist. It's actually 4 separate countries, one of them being an arm of the United Kingdom. Okay? Now, here's the United States. I don't know if you can see it very well, but I decided to follow the landforms on the borders of it. That leads to some interesting changes. New Mexico does not exist. It's part of Arizona. Arizona controls, 40% of the American southern border. The rest is Texas, and then like 5, maybe 10% is California. California, by the way, is only Southern California. Northern California is a state called Shasta. Kansas is significantly larger. It's also not a square. Nevada does not look like a wedge. Colorado, definitely not a square. Wyoming doesn't exist. It's called Cheyenne. And its capital is Durant. If you know why that's significant, I see you've been watching Hell on Wheels. Okay? Iowa is larger. Minnesota is smaller. The Dakotas do not exist. They're called Lakota in the east. It's split along the river. Across that is called Sacagawea. Idaho is significantly smaller. Birmingham is in Tennessee instead of Alabama. And the Florida Panhandle is significantly smaller and under control of Alabama. Pensacola is in Alabama rather than Florida. The United States also controls the Bahamas. They are an entire county of Florida. Okay? Pennsylvania is not a block. New York's a little bit differently shaped. Delaware controls all the Chesapeake Peninsula. So much other going on. You'll have to get the book and read more. Okay? Now, I also did flags like the one behind me and the ones you have seen before on my channel with the new Roman Empire. I also have a hidden history in here, but we'll get to that in a moment. Let me get to the flags. Okay. Here's the country flags. I also did one for Australia because our national flag for Australia drives me crazy. Okay, that one is over here, about midway. Okay, I've actually sent a tweet out to Sydney Watson. She has yet to respond. Well, she is a busy girl after all. So, I've got one for Anatolia, it's a country, Arabia, Australia, Bengal, Kapitistan. Now if you notice, Anatolia and Kapitistan do not exist in our world. That's because they're part of Turkey. Turkey has completely crumbled in this timeline. Okay? Corsica is an independent country, as I said. Pakistan doesn't exist, instead it's called Delistan. There's French Caribe, French Empire, Greece. Go ahead and take a look at those. Ain't that something? And the one over here that looks kind of like New Zealand, that is what we call New Caledonia. It's an island. Only here, it's called New Cornwall. Got Maratha, Levanta. By the way, Israel doesn't exist, neither does Syria, Lebanon, or Jordan, because they're all part of one country called Levanta. Interesting history, goes all the way back to the Crusades. And I wrote it all in the book. Okay? Skanda is a country. It's Scandinavian Peninsula and Denmark. They have formed a triumvirate republic. Fascinating stuff. Iceland, by the way, controls Greenland. Nubia is a country. Interesting history there, I guess. Okay? We got a few others. Persia, by the way, exists, not Iran. Okay. We've got California, Kanawha. Where is that? Kanawha was going to be the name of West Virginia. It got outvoted by a slim majority. Ain't that something? Got Lakota. I also changed Oregon because, seriously, that flag sucks. Sacagawea's got a flag. Shasta's got a flag. I also changed Washington. Okay, and there's the Utah flag. There we go. I can see that a little bit better. Okay? So feel free to pick this one up. Okay? Now, I put in the hidden history, which gives the origin of why things are the way that they are. A lot of it will be expanded on in my second novel, which should be out, I'm hoping, in time for Christmas of 23, which, well, as I'm recording this, is January 1st. Yeah. Okay. Lots and lots going on in this world. Now, here's the interesting bit. I actually want you guys to help me out with it. So if you are a fan fiction writer, I want to hear from you. Okay? And I, by the way, created some parameters that if you do write me, you are required to follow. Okay? They are on my website, as is the submission portal. So get the books, understand the lore, hold to the lore, okay? Send it in to me. If I like what you wrote, I will welcome you as secondary canon. Okay? If not, well, then it's apocryphal and not correct. Okay? Don't worry, we will be in talks about everything, okay? But enough of that. Let's get into my third one. This is an in-universe book. It's called Homo Sapiens Mysticus. This book serves as part of the impetus for my second novel, okay? And this does exist in the universe. Full title is Homo Sapiens Mysticus, All About the Fae by Dr. Dorian Astrapios and Dr. Natalie Carzano by Richard Vigorelli. Okay? I do have illustrations in here. They were done by someone. Her name is Sierra Johansson. Fantastic kid. Wonderful artwork. I'll show it to you in just a moment. I actually work with her in my office. She works the front desk. Okay, really good kid. All right, and here is the logo of A-Strap Labs. It's uncolorized, yes I know, because I didn't want to pay for full color on this book. It would be way too expensive. Okay, got an introduction in it. Now, Chapter 1, Basics of an Ecosystem, after I do have to give you context, and there is one of those pictures. Okay? It is hand-drawn in pencil. She actually had a really hard time doing that one, but she got it to work out. That's how good she is. Sierra, by the way, does work on commission and under contract. I taught her all how to do that. Really, really smart kid. Okay, here's Chapter 2, Nature of the Fae. Ain't that something? Now, these pictures are not available for purchase yet. I kind of want to get more word out there and see if I can get some groundswell going. Okay? Now, Chapter 3, we start getting into the nitty-gritty. This one's about nymphs. Okay? Very, very complicated and diverse group of the Fae. Okay? Goes into several different breeds and why they exist and how they exist. Okay. Skipping through these. Here we are. Chapter 4, Elves. That is actually a self-portrait of Sierra. That's kind of what she looks like. I had her do herself as a Valkyrie, okay? Which, by the way, are a breed of elf in this universe, okay? chapter, whoops, let me skip one. No, we're fine. Okay. Hang on. Here we are, chapter 5. Fay of Service. That's a brownie, by the way. He is eating a cupcake because it's payday. Okay? Looks a bit like me, doesn't it? Yeah, it's actually the first one she did for the book, and she patterned him after me because I got a bit of a sweet tooth. One of my flaws. Now here is Fay of Desire. This is a fantasy created by a Dire, otherwise known as a Fury. They're wish granters. Ish. If you want to learn more, dive on in. Okay? Here is chapter 7 on the early Fay. The big guy in the grouping is an ogre. Complicated biology, these guys. Okay? You're going to have to read the book to find out more, but I'll read a little bit for you. The root of the ogre's strength and durability resides in this breed's exceptionally dense and resilient epithelial tissues, mixed with some of the same regarding their connective tissues, notably their tendons and ligaments. Ogre bones, as a result, are especially dense and large. For an ogre bone to be on par with that of a regular human or other Fey breed, the owner of the bone would have to be considered too weak to survive. In antiquity, they would have been killed by the tribe and possibly consumed. The reason for this increase is the sheer amount of collagen and elastin mixed with chitin, of all things in addition to keratin, lining the main filaments that actually make up the various tissues of the body. This does condense the tissues and result in much less probability of injury from taking place. As for their proclivity to war, this is a direct result of ogre physiology, requiring high amounts of protein to maintain durability. Interestingly, the first thing to break down as an ogre ages is the collagen and then the elastin. The result is first wrinkles, then stiffness. Once the chitin production breaks down, their durability fails. The Bingwa, which will be discussed next, have a similar tissue and aging arc. Bingwa, however, have focused on elastin rather than chitin. Okay? You'll have to get the book to learn more. Okay? Alright. Now here is chapter 8, Asiatic Fey. Now, what is pictured here is a Luduan. He works for the Imperial Japanese government in Korea. Okay. Now, Luduan are part of the Asian group, as are Wanbli. However, they are exclusively found in the Americas. And the Kitsune. Oh yes, they do not look like foxes. No. They're just really, really smart. Reason why they look like foxes, and this reason why people think they look like foxes, is because they did that as plausible deniability. Okay? So, last chapter, stereotypes and misconceptions. It's one of my favorites. Okay? That is actually a nightmare that Sierra had a few years ago. So she drew that and I said, elaborate on it. We'll have some fun. It's basically a demon, because a lot of people think that's what the Fae would look like. That's incorrect, at least in this universe. Okay? I go into why everything is not the way you think it is. Okay? Shape-shifting is not a thing. Nobody can detach anything. There's no really grotesque stuff going on. If you were to see a member of the Fae, they would be indistinguishable from another human until you watch them do their thing. Okay? Then I also get into interbreeding. Okay? Every single one of these passages here is from an in-universe person. However, nothing happens with them, at least not yet. You could change that. Okay? I specifically wrote it as though a normal person were talking, so there's grammatical errors, there's incorrect syntax here and there, things are non-specific, okay? because I wanted to make it sound like a normal person was talking, because the average person does not have proper English. Okay? So, moving on. Okay. Alright, now I even put in a cladogram. Okay? A little complicated. I don't know if you can see it very well. This is also on my website, I believe. Okay. And again, here is the note. If you are a fan fiction writer, I do want to hear from you. Okay? Submission guidelines are on my website as well as in my books. Okay? So feel free to pop over there. I do want to build this up. Now, there's a reason why I am going into all of this, and thank you if you've made it this far. See, we are in the middle of what is called, well, the start, I should say, of what is called the Iron Age. Okay? This is because comics are not good anymore. Movies are not good anymore. Nobody is buying them. The industries are falling apart. So, when there's a vacuum, something always rises to fill the place. I'm taking advantage of this. Many other people, including the guy that coined the term Iron Age, his name is Razorfist. He's part of quite a few groups. Kind of a weird guy, but I like him. Okay, along with other gentlemen such as Will Jordan, otherwise known as the Critical Drinker, Shad M. Brooks out of Australia, and oh goodness, Eric July, creator of the Rippaverse, who, if you have watched a few other videos on my channel, you know that I actually really do like him, and I do have a copy of his very first published comic book. Okay, and I will be getting number 2. He just announced it's going to printer and should be available very soon. Okay, 100 and some odd pages, I forget which. Okay, so that's about all I've got for you today, guys. If you're new to the channel, do all the YouTube things, like, subscribe, please leave a comment. It all does help. And feel free to pop over to my website, vimandvigorelli.com. My other website, vigintmed.com, is still active, and it does have a link, and they do share links between them. Okay? You can follow me on Twitter at RichardVigorel1, and go ahead and yell at me, throw some stuff at me. I don't care. It's lovely to hear from you. Okay? So I'll be back later, guys. You take care. Bye-bye.